this irony I was picking up on in the show with your character being a psychiatrist and then kind of going down this spiral as he's getting into the heads of his father's past clients. And I was curious how you went about exploring this dynamic and your character arc overall.
I kind of just tried to put myself in his shoes, and it wasn't that difficult, honestly. I think when you reach your late 30s, early 40s, you get to a place where you start having flashbacks of moments that happen in your childhood, and you'll be walking down the street, and all of a sudden, I mean, this is what's happened to me anyway. I've started to cry, and I'm like, I don't know why am I crying? It's like I don't. You hear a song that triggers your like a memory from your childhood, and it just sort of I don't know what it is, but it's. I mean, you often hear the phrase a midlife crisis, and I feel like Laz is sort of going through that, where he's being haunted by his past traumas and past decisions. You know, and it's definitely something I've been through, and I'm definitely going through now. You know, but in a really wonderful way. I think we spend a lot of our lives, or have previously, generations before us, and especially my generation, like suppressing our emotions, suppressing our feelings, and of course, they're bound to erupt at some point. And I think with Laz, his father, you know, taking his own life was the sort of catalyst of the opening of Pandora's box, and his sister's death, and his previous breakdown, his marriage breakdown. All of it just kind of starts spiraling. So it's kind of understandable, I guess. So I just try to put myself in his shoes in that way.
With like a thriller series like this, as a viewer, you know, you're always kind of on your toes, unsure of what's about to happen. Did you know the ending from the start?
I did not, no. They sent me just one episode initially, and I got to the end of it and was like, I mean, I have to read episode 2. And they sent me like an early draft of episode 2, like a few weeks later. So I was still sat with that one episode for like a few weeks, kind of going, you know, having withdrawal. I read episode 2, and similarly, it was like, now I need to read episode 3. And it took a while and I think we may have even started filming before I knew what the ending was. So I was just trying to play each moment as real and honest as possible. Like Joel really believes that what he's saying is true, and you know, I just had to kind of play the honesty in that. And people, because there was obviously a moment where I didn't know whether Joel was the guilty party, and I didn't know whether Joel was having a breakdown, or whether he was really seeing dead people, or whether they were visions. And you know, it's very confusing when you're sort of filming one of these thrillers without knowing where it's headed. But that kind of adds to the sort of juice of it, I think.
I know we see Jenna hearing some of the tape recordings from your character's father's past patients, and ultimately Aiden is the culprit.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry, do you have a moment?
Sons become their fathers, Joel. It's in their blood.
Was any of this in Laz's head? Like, how did you kind of interpret this ending?
The way I interpreted it, and I believe, I don't know whether this is the actual thing, but that Laz was imagining his dad, absolutely kind of imagining the conversations he wished he'd had with his dad. But the sequences, all the flashbacks, they are tape recordings that he has obsessively listened to the point where he does start to sort of put things together. So the conversations he's having with the sort of supernatural ghosts are conversations his dad has had with those people, and he starts putting the dots together. With regards to Aiden, there's a moment his dad says, you know, that it skips a generation, and so Laz has been saved in that respect, but now his son is going to have the same sort of psychopathic tendencies as his dad. It's haunting, but I believe that, you know, I'd like to think that Laz will be able to help him through it and, you know, make him confess, but I have a feeling that would be too easy. So who's to know? Who's to know where it leads? I'm excited to find out if there is hope.
If the opportunity arises for a season 2, would you be interested?
I loved playing the part so much. I loved the world that we created. I loved all the other characters within it. The one thing I would say is that I'd be curious to see what someone could cook up. So I'd never say no, but equally it does feel like it's sort of a perfect ending where it's sort of left open-ended. But it sort of depends. It depends on what is written and what is thought out. And I couldn't dream of coming up with any ideas myself. But Harlan is a master at this, as is Danny, his co-writer. And I think between them, they could probably think of something pretty spectacular. So I definitely would jump at the chance of working with them again.
And was this your first time working on a Harlan Coben project?
Yes, yeah. I watched his series Fool Me Once before filming this, before I even kind of knew about this as a project, and I loved that series. So like for me, this was like an exciting prospect because of that. And I've now since watched so many of his adaptations and love his writing. I just love his writing. You can't help but get addicted. It's there's no one quite like him.